Can you hear me?
How you doing, man? You disagree?
Jesus is God changed my mind. Yeah, I disagree. I'm Muslim by first.
Okay.
Um, and the reason that I say Jesus is not God because nobody knows how Jesus looks like. For example, let me give an example. Let me give an example.
Wait, you're saying Jesus is
Right?
not God because no one knows what Jesus looks like?
No, yes. Let me explain. Let's just talk about Jesus, the persona himself, right? If you look up Google and you type in Jesus, or you go to the Vatican, or you go to Ethiopia, they all have like pictures of Jesus, how he looks like. So now my point of view is like, if you're saying like Jesus is God, okay, then you have like this type of image that is contributed to it because you're trying to
What does that
have
what does that got to do
connection
with
with
that?
it.
What does that have to do with Jesus himself?
So, but what it has to do with Jesus is what it has to do with Jesus is like, what if you found out that
So
Jesus totally doesn't look like?
just to be clear, if I drew pictures of Allah, does that mean that Allah is not God because I have pictures of him?
No, because nobody knows how God looks like.
Right. So
He doesn't look like his creation.
so if I'll ask it again because I don't know if you hear yourself. You said that
I'm hearing
Jesus
myself
can't.
quite-
You said Jesus can't be God because people drew pictures of him, and
Of course.
we don't know what he looks like. So if
Yes.
I drew pictures of Allah, even though I don't know what he looks like, but I drew pictures and I said that this is Allah, does that mean that Allah is not God anymore?
No, because God is not just like his creation.
Okay,
Because you
so
create something
if I
in your image.
people painting pictures of what they depict as Jesus has nothing to do with Jesus and him being God, right?
No, Jesus is not God.
All right, tell me why
Jesus is
Jesus.
totally-
All right, so tell me why Jesus is not God.
Because first of all, like I said, people have this like this image when you just look at Jesus.
Brother, tell me why Jesus is not God. Don't tell me about pictures. Tell me why Jesus is not God. Because we again, and this will be the last time I'm not going to entertain this anymore. If I drew pictures of Allah,
Okay.
you wouldn't say that Allah's not God anymore because I drew pictures of him. This is stupid. So give me something real that shows that Jesus is not God. Give me a real argument.
Okay, so who is then Jesus' father then? If Jesus is God, who is his father?
The Heavenly Father.
Because no.
You said no.
If
I
he's God-
I just gave you the answer to your question. The Heavenly Father is Jesus's father. So what now?
It's more confusing now because
How
Jesus
so?
came Jesus came out of a virgin, right?
Jesus says that he came down from heaven. How did he come down from heaven?
Jesus was born out of a virgin, right?
But he says that he came down from heaven before he was born of a virgin. So how could he come down from heaven?
Wait, Jesus came out of a virgin.
I'll say it again slowly.
So-
I'll say it again slowly.
Okay,
Jesus says,
I'm going to say it slowly again.
okay. Jesus says,
Okay.
I came down from heaven. So before he was born of a virgin, before he took on a human nature and was born of a virgin, he came down from heaven. How did Jesus come
Okay.
down from heaven if he's not God?
So God, in that sense, you're trying to tell me that God needs to come on earth through a biological process.
My brother,
To do what?
I don't feel like this
My
is.
brother.
I don't feel this is fair.
It's more confusing for you, huh?
Yeah. You're confusing me. Get off my stage. Thank you, ma'am. I just felt 3 brain cells pop. Please come back, sweetheart. Can you bring me some tea? Some brain cell tea. You got some? Yeah, I just lost 3 of them. Gosh, that's painful. Jeez, imagine going through that every day, like having none. That has to hurt living like that, right? My friend Servant is here. Servant of the most merciful.
What's going on, Avery?
Salam alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
What you got for me today?
What's happening?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much. Trying to be like
So
you with
I
the
have
interesting
a-
titles, man.
Good. I've had some discussions, and I want to. It's a more of a clarification,
Mm-hmm.
and it depends on your answer. I can maybe make an argument.
Okay.
If you answer correctly, I think I won't. Who gives authority to Jesus?
When Jesus set aside his divine privileges and took on flesh and was exalted, it was the Father who exalted Jesus and gave him authority.
So he gives him the authority to forgive sins. That's what you're saying.
Oh no, it doesn't say that. He has that innately within himself.
Oh, so he was never given authority to forgive sins.
He just already had it.
So when you say authority, so it's a category of authority. It's not about forgiving sins. What is it about then? What's this authority?
So when you see when Jesus is resurrected and he's getting ready to ascend and he's glorified, he's this authority that he has, this glory or this position that he has, he's seated at the right hand of the Father. And so that's the type of authority that he is given when he ascends, when he's glorified.
What about when he's has on the flesh? Isn't that true that Jesus also forgives sin, and that's the Father gives him that authority to forgive sins? And you're saying it's not the case. Maybe Christians, I misunderstand Christians.
Yeah, it seems like you misunderstand us. So Jesus innately has the ability to, forgive sins. So that's why he's able to do it, because he's the Son of Man. Now the authority that he's given, at his glorification is his exaltation and being exalted above all of creation, sitting at the right hand of the Father, above the angels, above men, above every principality, everything.
Okay. And what about performing miracles? Was it something that Jesus himself is doing, or is the Father doing himself?
Well, it's not either or, it's all of it. You have the Father working through the Son by the Spirit that is indwelling in Jesus, and he's performing these miracles. So it's all of them, are taking part in Jesus performing these miracles.
Okay, but who's committing? Who's doing the act? Who is the?
Jesus is doing the act.
Okay, so in raising Lazarus, Jesus says, "I thank you, O Father. You have heard me. You always hear me." Mm-hmm. What does it mean? I can understand that this is a request that he's asking for him to help him raise Lazarus from death.
Well, he doesn't say that. He doesn't say that he's asking him.
He doesn't say that. Yeah. It looks like that for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we see is Jesus addressing the Father because, and he literally says why he's doing it. He says, so that they may see and know that you have sent me and that you always hear me. Right. And so what he's doing is he is putting on display the intimate relationship that he has with the Father. So it's not to his benefit, but it's to the benefit of the audience to see that he truly is from the Father and is the Son in whom he said he was. He said himself right before this, he says, I am the resurrection and the life. So I can understand what you're saying. If I say yes, he's doing it only to show people show something to people, but what you're saying implies he was pretending, even though he's doing it to show them that he has that communication with that Father, that you should also have that communication with God. But it seems that he's going to be pretending. Oh, you hear me? So is he pretending? Or hear me about what? What is it? Was he just saying Jesus is thanking him? What is Jesus thanking him? Is he pretending to thank him? That's what I'm asking. No, everything that's happening is genuine. But everything that's happening is not for his benefit. It's for the audience. I think I lost him for a second. You there, servant? Hello. Servant, is you there? All right, I lost him.